My name is Ben Cramer, and I would like to introduce you to NarrateIT. But before we go into the design, I kind of want to take a couple steps back and talk about what led me to this design. And while starting my research, there was a statistic that really caught my eye, and it's that more than half of fourth grade students are reading below a proficient level. And this has been on a decline for several years. And not only in that moment is it, it's a long-lasting effect where third graders who are below proficient are actually 4 times more likely to not graduate high school in time. So I really wanted to focus my project on reading. And there's 5 components of reading. That's fluency, vocabulary, phonemic awareness, and phonics, as well as comprehension as a whole. And I wanted to focus on the 3rd to 5th grade level. And looking at 3rd to 5th grade level, before that, it's heavily focused on phonics and phonemic awareness, as well as once they get to 3rd to 5th grade, it's heavily focused on reading comprehension, which leaves an opportunity to focus on fluency. And fluency is simple enough, reading out loud, but also reading out loud accurately and timely, using prodigy and expression, using some melody and emotion with speaking out loud. And when talking to kids, as well as teachers, there are a lot of negative experiences with fluency. And one of them was reading in front of class. It's very nerve-wracking to get in front of a bunch of people and perform. And so the other one was popcorn reading, which is reading a passage with the whole class going back and forth with each other, which has actually been a proven strategy that's not effective to teach reading itself. The other one is one-on-one assessment with a teacher. So imagine a teacher having a timer in one hand and a red pen in the other, marking every mistake that you're making along the way. It's a very negative experience. So focusing on what the positive was in the classroom. And one of them was a whisper telephone, which is a plastic pipe that looks like a telephone where you can hear yourself through the pipe. You can also do this while cupping your hand if you want to try that. The other one was reader's theater, where it's no longer an exercise or practice to read out loud. It's an actual performance where it's not felt like it's a chore in itself, and they get to play and have fun with it. So with the design, I wanted to take reader's theater and whisper telephone into a digital solution that they can be in an informal learning experience at home in the comfort of their own home, which has led to NarrateIT, where kids can become the narrator and hear their own voice in the story. So let's say Sonia is at home wanting to practice reading or wanted to read a story. Her parent would have downloaded this app and then would have gone to the homepage, where it's a very similar of Epic Books or any other book app that you would see, where you have a large selection of stories that they could select. So let's say Sonia picks The Closet Creature, which have themes of humor, scary, and bedtime, as well as a description of that story, and then 2 options where they can listen to good modeling of reading out loud, as well as reading it for themselves. So Sonia's ready to read out loud, gets prompted to find a comfy spot, take a moment to read it first, then read it out loud, and then re-listen to hear whether or not they were happy with that. So Sonia would then go and read the passage, and then once ready, it would record. And then once they were happy with that, they would hear a recording of their voice and could play over to reflect and see if they're happy with whether or not that passage. This would happen with several sections of the passage, so they're not overwhelmed with the whole story and needing to write that whole thing, which would then lead to the end that they would be a story with their narration with an animation telling that story as well. So the important thing with NarrateIT is that it gives kids the opportunity to be the narrator, the storytellers. They can see themselves within the stories, and then chunking the passages to reduce the cognitive load of that and making sure that they're bit by bit, passage by passage are happy with they can also self-reflect on their performance, as well as what they have improved on, as well as what they can improve on in the future, as well as they can share with others, with their parent, with their with fellow kids, as well as their teacher. And most importantly, this is creating a fun, informal space where kids can practice and rehearse so that once they come back to the classroom, they can be successful and read in front of the class. Thank you.